The sky turned red before anyone heard the sound. Then it came, a deep roar like thunder breaking the world apart. Fire fell from above. A massive dragon crashed into the center of the village. Houses exploded into flames. Wood cracked. Stone shattered. People screamed and ran in every direction. Children cried. Mothers pulled them away. Soldiers rushed forward, but stopped because the dragon opened its mouth. Inside, rows of long, sharp teeth, and one of them was black, rotting, broken. Smoke curled around it. The dragon growled in pain. Not rage. Pain. The ground shook under its claws. Its wings spread wide, blocking the sky. Everyone froze. No one moved. No one breathed, because they knew this was the moment it would burn everything. Then, a voice, soft, calm, completely wrong for this moment. That tooth looks bad. Silence fell. All eyes turned. A girl stood there, small, no armor, no sword, no fear on her face. She stepped forward slowly. Dust and ash moved around her feet. The soldiers shouted, "Stop! Get back!" But she didn't stop. Her eyes stayed locked on the dragon. The dragon lowered its head. Slowly, its glowing eyes focused on her. The heat from its breath made the air shake. One step closer, and she would die. Everyone knew it. The girl stopped just a few feet away. She looked up at the monster and repeated softly, "That tooth, it hurts, doesn't it?" The dragon's growl changed. It was still loud, still dangerous. But now, there was something else in it. Something broken. Something tired. The dragon opened its mouth wider. Fire flickered inside its throat. The soldiers raised their weapons. Now, attack! But before they could move, the dragon did something no one expected. It lowered its head. Lower, lower, until its massive face was near the ground. And then, it bowed. Gasps filled the air. Weapons slipped from shaking hands. No one understood what they were seeing. A creature that could destroy kingdoms was bowing to a human girl. The fire around them crackled softly. No one moved. No one spoke. The world felt frozen. The king's guards recovered first. "Get ready," one shouted. "This is a trick." Archers lifted their bows. Arrows pointed at the dragon's head. The tension snapped tight like a rope. One wrong move, and everything would explode. The dragon lifted its head slightly. It growled again, but not at the soldiers. At the girl. A warning. A question. Something no one could understand, except her. She tilted her head slightly, studying it like it was not a monster, but a patient. "You're in pain," she said quietly. The dragon's eyes narrowed. Smoke escaped from its nostrils. The ground trembled again. "Don't move," a soldier yelled at her. But she ignored him. Instead, she took another step forward. The heat hit her face. Her hair moved in the hot wind. Ash landed on her shoulders. Still, she did not stop. Another step. Closer, closer. The dragon did not attack. Its wings shifted slightly. Claws dug into the ground. It was ready. Ready to strike. Or ready to run. No one could tell. "Lira!" Someone screamed from behind. "Come back!" But she didn't turn. She raised her hand slowly. Not fast. Not sudden. Slow enough for the dragon to see. To understand. Her fingers trembled just a little. But her voice stayed calm. "I won't hurt you." The dragon's eyes followed her hand. Every movement. Every breath. The entire village held its breath with it. She moved closer to its mouth. So close now that the heat burned her skin. The smell of smoke filled her lungs. And there it was. The tooth. Black. Cracked. Rotting from the inside. The skin around it swollen and red. Even from here, anyone could see it. It was infected. Painful. Dangerous. The dragon let out a low, deep sound. Not anger. Not fully. It sounded like suffering. Lira took one final step. Now she stood right in front of its open mouth. One snap, and she would disappear. The soldiers tightened their grip on their weapons. "Hold!" their captain whispered. "Wait!" No one blinked. No one moved. Lira slowly reached forward. Her hand entered the dragon's mouth. Gasps exploded around the village. No! But she didn't pull back. Her fingers hovered near the broken tooth. The dragon's entire body tensed. Muscles tightened. Wings spread slightly. Fire flickered deep in its throat. This was it. This was the moment. Death or miracle. Lira spoke again. Soft. Steady. I see it now. It's worse than I thought. The dragon froze. Her fingers gently touched the edge of the tooth. The beast flinched, but didn't bite, didn't burn, didn't move. It let her touch it, slowly, carefully, like it understood. The girl closed her eyes for a second, thinking, feeling. Then she opened them and whispered, I can help you. The dragon's eyes locked onto hers. For a long moment, nothing happened. Then it exhaled, a long, heavy breath. Hot air rushed past her, but there was no fire, no attack, only relief. And in that moment, everyone watching realized something impossible. This was not a monster attacking a village. This was a creature asking for help. And somehow, only one human understood. The smallest one, the weakest one, the only one who didn't see a beast. But pain, and the dragon, chose her. The girl's name was Lira. No one in the burning village knew her as a hero. She was not a warrior. She had never held a sword. She was not a mage. She knew no spells. She was just a healer, a simple girl who fixed cuts, burns, and broken bones. A girl who helped farmers, children, and old people. Nothing more, nothing special. And yet, she stood in front of a dragon, her hand still inside its mouth, her eyes focused, her voice calm. While everyone else saw death, Lira saw something different. She saw pain. The dragon's breath came out slow and heavy. Hot air pushed against her face. Its body trembled slightly, not from anger, from suffering. The black tooth was worse up close. The surface was cracked. Dark liquid leaked from the base. The skin around it was swollen, infected. Every breath must have hurt. Every movement must have burned. This creature was not here to destroy. It was trying to survive. Lira slowly pulled her hand back. The dragon did not snap, did not chase her. It simply watched, waiting, confused, hurting. She stepped back just enough to look at it fully. Her heart beat fast now. Her hand shook a little, but her mind stayed clear. I understand, she whispered. Behind her, the soldiers still held their weapons. The captain spoke under his breath. What is she doing? An archer replied. She should be dead already. But she wasn't, because something impossible was happening. The dragon was listening. Lira took a slow breath. Then she raised her voice just enough. Stay still. I will help. The words sounded small, weak, but in that moment, they carried weight. The dragon's eyes narrowed. Its wings shifted slightly. Dust rose around its claws. For a second, it looked like it might attack. The soldiers stepped forward. Get ready, one shouted. But then the dragon stopped. Its body lowered again, not fully bowing this time, but enough to show something had changed. It obeyed. A wave of shock moved through the crowd. Even the royal knights stared in disbelief. One of them whispered, Why is it listening to her? No one answered, because no one knew. Lira moved slowly. Every step careful, every movement clear. She didn't want to scare it, didn't want to break whatever fragile trust was forming. She looked at the dragon's face, at its eyes. They were not empty, not cold. There was intelligence there, understanding, and something deeper, fear. The dragon was afraid, not of the soldiers, not of the weapons, but of the pain, and maybe of being alone with it. Lira spoke again, softer this time. It hurts every time you breathe, doesn't it? The dragon made a low sound, almost like a response. Its head shifted slightly toward her. It was listening, actually listening. Behind her, the king's men grew restless. This is madness, one knight said. We should kill it now, before it changes its mind. But their captain raised his hand. Wait! Even he didn't understand why, but something told him this moment mattered. Lira looked around quickly. The village was still burning in places. Smoke filled the air. People watched from a distance. terrified, confused, hoping. She needed tools. She needed something to help. But she couldn't leave. Not now. If she walked away, the dragon might panic, might lose trust, might destroy everything. So she made a choice. She would start with nothing, just her hands, just her voice. "Open your mouth again," she said gently. The dragon hesitated. Its jaw tightened. Pain flashed in its eyes. But slowly, very slowly, it obeyed. Its mouth opened wide. Heat rushed out. The smell of blood and fire filled the air. Lira stepped closer again. Her fear returned for a moment. One mistake, and it would be over. But she pushed it down. Focused, careful, she raised her hand again. This time, slower than before, letting the dragon see everything. Every small movement. Her fingers moved toward the broken tooth. The dragon trembled again. A deep growl built in its chest. The ground shook lightly. The soldiers tensed. "This is it," one whispered. But Lira didn't stop. "Stay with me," she said softly. "Don't fight it." Her fingers touched the edge of the tooth again. The dragon flinched. A sharp reaction. Pain shot through it. Its wings spread wide for a second. Wind blasted across the ground. People screamed, but it didn't attack. It held back. Because of her. Lira studied the tooth carefully now. She pressed lightly around it, watching, learning. The infection was deep, very deep. This was not something that would heal on its own. If left untreated, it would spread. It could kill even something this powerful. She pulled her hand back again, her face serious now. "This is bad," she said quietly. The dragon closed its mouth slowly. Its breathing heavy again. Waiting. Lira turned slightly toward the soldiers. "I need water, cloth, and something sharp." They didn't move. Too shocked, too confused. "Now!" she shouted. That broke them. A few ran quickly, grabbing whatever they could find. Buckets, clean cloth, small blades, anything. They brought it to her, but kept their distance. No one dared come close. Only her. She took the items with steady hands, then turned back to the dragon. It was still there, still waiting, still trusting. Something that should not be possible was real. Lira stepped forward again. "This will hurt," she said softly, "but it will save you." The dragon's eyes locked onto hers. For a long moment, they stayed like that. Human and beast. Fear and trust. Pain and hope. Then the dragon lowered its head again. Just enough, giving her full access. A silent answer. A silent choice. It trusted her. Completely. And in that moment, everyone watching understood something terrifying and beautiful. This was no longer about survival. This was something else. Something rare. Something powerful. A bond, not built on strength, not built on fear, but on understanding. And only one human in that entire kingdom had the courage to see it. The ground shook again. But this time, it was not the dragon. It was the king. Horses thundered across the broken road. Royal guards surrounded him in shining armor. Their banners cut through the smoke-filled sky. The people moved aside quickly. Fear changed direction. From the dragon to the king's command. The king stopped at the edge of the ruined village. His eyes locked onto the creature. A massive dragon. Wings like storms. Claws like blades. Fire still glowing in its throat. And standing in front of it, a single human girl. Small, unarmed, defenseless. For a second, the king said nothing. Then his face hardened. His voice cut through the air like a blade. "Kill it!" The order hit the soldiers like lightning. No hesitation. No questions. Archers raised their bows at once. Arrows pointed toward the dragon's head. Swords were drawn. Shields lifted. This was what they were trained for. Destroy the threat. Protect the kingdom. No matter the cost. "Wait!" Lyra's voice broke through the chaos. She stepped forward quickly, standing directly between the dragon and the soldiers. Her arms spread wide, her body small but unmovable. "Stop!" she shouted. "It is not our enemy." The soldiers froze, not because they believed her, but because of what stood behind her. The dragon moved. A deep growl rose from its chest, louder than before, stronger, angrier. Smoke poured from its mouth. Its wings spread wide again. The ground trembled harder now. Fear returned, stronger than ever. The archers tightened their grip. "Loose on command," one shouted. The king's eyes narrowed. "Move aside, girl," he said coldly. "You don't understand what you are protecting." Lira didn't move. Her heart was racing now. Her legs felt weak, but she stayed where she was, because she knew if she stepped away, everything would end. "It's in pain," she shouted. "It's not here to destroy us." The king's expression didn't change. "All monsters bring destruction," he replied, "and we end them before they do." Behind her, the dragon let out another roar. This one shook the sky, not just anger, fear. It saw the weapons. It saw the threat. Its body tensed, claws digging deep into the earth, fire building inside its throat. If it attacked, nothing would stop it. The village would fall. The soldiers would die. The kingdom itself could burn. And if the soldiers attacked first, Lira would be the first to fall, standing right in front of it. No armor, no shield, no chance. "Last warning," the king said. "Step aside." Lyra's hands clenched. Her mind raced. She could feel the heat behind her. The dragon was close. Too close. She didn't even need to turn around to know. It was on the edge. One arrow, one wrong move, and everything would explode. "Please," she said, her voice softer now, but stronger in a different way. "Look at it." The king didn't respond. "Look at its eyes," she continued. "Not its teeth, not its claws. Its eyes." For a brief moment, the king hesitated. Just a second, but enough. His gaze shifted slightly, toward the dragon's face. The creature stared back, not attacking, not charging, just watching, breathing heavily, in pain, in fear. The dragon growled again, but something was different. It didn't step forward, didn't strike. Instead, slowly, carefully, it lowered its head. Gasps spread through the soldiers. "It's bowing again." Impossible. The massive creature lowered itself just enough. Not weak, not defeated, but controlled, holding itself back. Because of her. Because Lira stood there. The tension shifted. Not gone, but changed. Now it was something fragile, like a thread about to break. Lira slowly lowered her arms, but she didn't step away. Instead, she turned slightly toward the king, her voice steady now, clear, focused. "Do you see it?" she asked. "It's not attacking. It's asking." The king said nothing, but his grip on his sword tightened. Lira took a small step forward, still between both sides, still the only thing stopping disaster. "It trusts me," she said, "and I trust it." A dangerous sentence, one that could cost everything. The soldiers looked uncertain now. Their formation weakened slightly. Arrows still aimed, but hands less steady. The dragon exhaled slowly behind her. A deep, heavy breath. No fire. Just heat. Just life. Lira turned fully toward the king now. This was the moment. The only moment. If she failed now, there would be no second chance. "Give me one chance," she said. Her voice did not shake. "Just one." Silence. Even the fire around them seemed quieter, waiting. The king stared at her, at this small, unarmed girl, standing between an army and a dragon, defying both, without fear, or maybe with fear, but choosing to stand anyway. "Why?" the king finally asked. "One reason I should risk everything." Lira didn't hesitate. "Because if you're wrong," she said, "we lose everything." She pointed slightly toward the dragon. "But if I'm right," her voice softened, "we gain something stronger than fear." The king's eyes narrowed again, thinking, measuring, deciding. Behind her, the dragon remained still, waiting, trusting. The entire kingdom held its breath, balanced on one choice, one word, one moment. The king slowly raised his hand. The archers tense again, waiting for the signal. Attack or stand down. Lira didn't move, didn't speak. didn't breathe, and then the king gave his answer. The king's hand slowly lowered. "Hold," he said. One word. That was all it took. The archers did not fire. The soldiers did not move. For now, the dragon lived. Lira let out a quiet breath. Not relief. Not yet. This was only the beginning. She turned back to the dragon. Its massive body still filled the space like a mountain. Its eyes followed her every move. Still watching. Still waiting. Still trusting. Lira knelt down near the supplies. A small cloth. A short, sharp blade. A handful of crushed herbs. Simple things. Things she had used many times before. But never like this. Never on something that could destroy a kingdom. Her hands trembled slightly as she picked them up, not from doubt, but from the weight of the moment. One mistake, and everything would end. She stood again, slowly, carefully, every movement clear, every step measured. She walked back toward the dragon's head. The heat grew stronger. The air felt heavy, hard to breathe. The dragon shifted slightly. A low sound rumbled in its chest. Not anger, but unease. It knew something was about to happen. Something painful. Lira stopped just in front of its mouth. She looked up into its eyes. "I'm going to help you," she said softly. "It will hurt, but only for a moment." The dragon stared at her. Long, deep, then, slowly, it opened its mouth. The sight inside was terrifying. Dark, wet, filled with heat and smoke. Blood lined the edges of its gums. The rotten tooth stood out clearly now. Black, cracked, poisoned. A wave of hot air rushed out. Lyra's hair moved back. Her skin burned slightly. Her body screamed at her to step away, to run, to survive. But she didn't move. She stepped forward instead. Gasps came from the soldiers behind her. "She's going inside." Is she mad? Even the king watched closely now, his face unreadable, but his eyes sharp, focused. Lira raised the cloth first. She wrapped it carefully around her hand, not for protection, but for grip. The tooth was damaged, weak, but still strong enough to resist. She reached inside. Her arm disappeared into the dragon's mouth. The heat surrounded her. The smell was overwhelming, but she pushed forward, focused. Her fingers found the tooth. Up close. It was worse than she thought. Loose, but deep roots still held in place. The infection had spread around it. Every touch caused the dragon to tremble. A low growl began. Deep, rising. The ground shook under her feet. "Stay with me," she whispered. "Just a little longer." She adjusted her grip. Firm, careful. She had to pull it out in one motion. Fast, clean. If she failed, the pain would be worse. The dragon might panic, might lose control. Her heart pounded. Her breath slowed. One moment, one chance. She pulled. The dragon roared. The sound exploded through the sky. The ground cracked. Windows shattered. The soldiers stumbled back. Some dropped their weapons. Others covered their ears. "Fall back!" someone shouted. The dragon's wings burst open. A storm of wind and dust filled the air. Fire flickered wildly in its throat. Its entire body shook with pain. Everyone thought the same thing. This was it. It would snap. It would burn everything. It would kill her. But Lira did not stop. She held on, even as the dragon thrashed, even as the heat burned her skin, even as fear screamed inside her. "Almost there," she whispered through clenched teeth. One final pull. The tooth came free. Dark blood followed it. The smell changed instantly. Sharp, bitter. The dragon let out another roar. But this one was different. Less wild, less violent, more released. Lira quickly pulled her arm back. The broken tooth fell to ground with a heavy sound. Black, dead, gone. But she wasn't done. The wound still bled, still infected, still dangerous. She moved fast now. No hesitation, no fear. She grabbed the cloth, pressed it gently against the wound. The dragon flinched, but didn't pull away. "Easy, easy," she whispered. "It's almost over." She took the herbs, crushed them further in her hand, then carefully applied them to the open wound. The reaction was instant. The dragon tensed again. A sharp breath escaped it, but no roar followed. The herbs worked quickly, cooling, soothing, fighting the infection. Lira kept her hand steady, holding the cloth in place, applying pressure, cleaning what she could. Her voice never stopped. Soft, calm, steady. It will be okay. You're safe. I'm here. The dragon's breathing slowly changed, from wild to heavy to controlled. The fire inside its throat faded. The glow dimmed. The smoke lessened. Its massive body lowered slightly, tension leaving it piece by piece. The ground stopped shaking. The wind settled. The air cooled. Silence returned. Lira slowly stepped back, her arm covered in blood, her face tired, but her eyes focused, watching, waiting. The dragon closed its mouth slowly, testing, feeling. For the first time since it arrived, it took a full breath. No pain. Its eyes widened slightly, not in fear, in realization. The pain was gone. The dragon lifted its head, higher this time, stronger, steadier. The entire village watched. No one spoke. No one moved, because they all understood they had just witnessed something impossible. Not a battle, not a victory, a healing. And at the center of it, a single human girl with no magic, no power, no weapon, only courage, only understanding. And somehow, that was enough. The air was quiet now, too quiet. The dragon stood in the center of the village. Its wings stretched high, massive, powerful, but relaxed. No fire burned. No roar echoed. It was calm, stronger than before, and peaceful. The villagers watched from a distance. Fear had faded from their eyes. Curiosity, wonder, and awe replaced it. Lira stepped forward. She was small, tired, covered in soot and blood from the battle, and from the healing, but she held her head high. Her hands were still slightly shaking, but she was smiling. The dragon lowered its enormous head toward her and bowed. But this bow was different. It was deeper, not submission, not fear, respect, pure respect. The ground trembled slightly beneath its claws, but the movement carried no threat. The king watched silently, his sword lowered slowly. Even the soldiers lowered their weapons. A hush fell over the kingdom. For the first time, the people saw the truth. Not all monsters were enemies. Some were victims of pain. Some were stronger than humans, but not evil. Some just needed understanding. The dragon's eyes met Lira's. Intelligent, deep, and aware. It let out a low, gentle rumble. A sound like a sigh. The kind of sound that spoke more than words ever could. It had trusted her. It had survived because of her. It had learned that humans could be more than hunters. The villagers slowly approached, careful, cautious, uncertain. They stopped just short of the dragon's claws. Some of the children peeked from behind their parents. The dragon's gaze followed them, but it did not roar. It did not breathe fire. It simply stood tall, strong, patient, a silent guardian. Lira stepped closer. She reached her hand up. The dragon lowered its massive head, allowing her to touch the smooth scales along its jaw. Good, she whispered softly. It's over now. The villagers began to murmur. What is this? Did she heal it? Can it be trusted? The king finally spoke. This creature is no enemy. He looked at Lira, pride and astonishment mixed in his gaze. You saved it, and you saved us all. Lira bowed her head slightly. Not just me, she said softly. It's brave too, and it chose to trust. The dragon exhaled slowly. Smoke drifted from its nostrils, warm and gentle. It stretched its wings once, then folded them neatly. It looked down at Lira again, and bowed, once more, deeper this time, a gesture that spoke of gratitude, respect, and connection. The kingdom watched silently, a lesson written in fire and ash, yet understood without words. Days passed, weeks passed. The village slowly recovered. Houses were rebuilt, fields replanted, life returned. But something had changed, not just in the village, not just in the kingdom, but in the hearts of every person who had witnessed what had happened. The dragon remained, not in hiding, not in fear, but near the village, flying over the forests, soaring above the mountains, always watching, always protecting, not a beast of fear, but a guardian to respect. The king visited Lira in the small house she lived in. "You've done more than anyone could have imagined," he said. "You've shown us something we've never seen before." Lira smiled faintly. "It wasn't about me," she said. "It was about seeing the truth, about understanding and helping." Rumors spread across the kingdom. Stories of the girl who touched the dragon's teeth. Stories of the dragon that bowed. Stories of courage, kindness, and trust. Children told the stories to each other at night. Soldiers and knights shared them in hushed voices. Even the king made sure everyone knew. A legend was born, and yet the dragon remained humble. It never destroyed a village again. It never attacked humans. It protected the people silently, flying high in the sky, watching over forests, mountains, rivers, and fields. Every once in a while, it would descend to the village, land near the healer who had dared to see its pain. It would bow, not in submission, but in friendship, in respect, in acknowledgement. Lira often walked to the edge of the village. She would look up, hand on her chest, and smile. The dragon would watch her. Sometimes, smoke would curl from his nostrils. Sometimes, it would roar gently, a sound of greeting, and children would laugh, chasing after the dragon's shadow as it soared across the sky. The kingdom slowly changed. Fear the unknown faded. People learned that courage did not always mean strength with a sword. Sometimes, courage meant understanding pain. Sometimes, it meant seeing truth behind fear. The dragon's presence became a symbol, not of terror, not of destruction, but of hope, of trust, of a bond between humans and creatures stronger than themselves. And always near that small village, where a simple healer had stepped forward, where she had said those unforgettable words. "That tooth looks bad." The dragon flew close, guarding, watching, remembering, respecting. In the skies, its wings spread wide, majestic, powerful, and free. And every eye that looked up remembered the lesson. Monsters were not always enemies. Strength could be tempered with understanding. And even the smallest human could change the course of the world. The dragon roared softly into the wind, not for anger, not for destruction, but for life, for hope, for trust, for the legacy of a girl named Lira. And the kingdom never forgot.